الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Today inshallah we'll be talking about Hajjatul Wada', the Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Those who study the hadith, they know it very well that this is one of the most difficult topic to deal with, because there isn't one hadith that will tell us all the details about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Hajj, or which simply means the complete detail of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Hajj from the time that he left until he came back. The most detailed hadith that is narrated about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Hajj is the hadith narrated by Jabir radiyallahu anhu. Amongst the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, he is the one who really narrated the most detail all at once in sequence. But still, the hadith of Jabir radiyallahu anhu may not even be half of everything that happened or that took place during that journey. There is much more to it, and those are the things that we learn from other Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. Every Sahabi tells us some portion of the journey, that at that occasion this thing happened, and another occasion this thing happened. Then from all of these different occasions, fuqaha have driven a lot of masail of Hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did this because of this. He did this because of that. And now, at one occasion he did this, other occasion he did something that's opposite to this. Why did he do this way at that first occasion? Why did he do it the other way at the second occasion? So a lot of details are there that are attached to Hajjatul Wada', the last Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever we will be talking about, it won't be and it can never be everything that is narrated. Forget about things that are not there. Everything that is narrated about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Hajj. And as far as going into the details of the rulings and the ahkam of all of these different actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I won't even attempt to do that. We will be just talking about some very basic things regarding the Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the complete trip of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of that Hajj, which is known as Hajjatul Wada'. I just wanted to make this brief introduction to this so that we understand that even after reading this, we are not getting all the information about the Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we are not even dealing with the ahkam and the rulings and the masail that are related to Hajj. We are not going to go into the details how masail are driven from these different actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We will be just trying to understand in a very simple way how did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam go and perform things and come back, and how did he come back after performing his Hajj. There will be few important points that I will try to just mention them to you. They may be of some importance, or it may be something that all the scholars agree upon, and I will try to mention some of those points inshallah. Number one, we need to realize Hajj, it's considered faridah. After it became fard in Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had performed it only once. He never performed Hajj after becoming faridah before that one that is known as Hajjatul Wada', the last Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. when did Hajj become fard? It's a very important question, and there are different opinions about it. Many of these scholars are of the opinion that it became fard in the 9th year of Hijrah. Some say it was in the 8th, some say it was in the 6th. There are differences of opinions. Many of those who say it became fard in the 8th or 9th year of Hijrah, the reason is, they say because if Hajj had become fard earlier than this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam surely would have performed it earlier. He would not delay a fard once it has been ordered in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regardless of when did it become fard, as I said, there are differences of opinions there, but that's for sure that it was not fard from the very beginning days of Islam in Makkah or beginning days of Hijrah. But this is for sure that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed Hajj in the 10th year of Hijrah. Before Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to perform Hajj, or before Hijrah, he used to perform Hajj, but that was not the Hajj of Islam. He used to go there to Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah, as they had learned it from the ways of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. And then after he received the prophethood, he used to go there with the intention of preaching the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and talking to those people about Islam. In the 10th year, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed this Hajj, which is called Hajjat Islam. But the year before that, 9th year of Hijrah, Muslims did perform Hajj. During that Hajj, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam assigned Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu as Amir of the Hajj. Someone has to be the leader. So as the Amir of Hajj, Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was the Amir, and he was leading all the people during that Hajj. So that was most probably the first time Hajj was performed under the instruction of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But then in the 10th year, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself went for Hajj. Very quick point here, when a lot of people try to associate slaughtering of the animal or celebrating Eid with the day of Arafah, we need to realize that Eid was established in the 2nd year of Hijrah. So from the 2nd year of Hijrah, they used to perform Salatul Eid in Medina Munawwara. And they used to slaughter animals also. Whereas in Islam, there was no even Hajj at that time, because Hajj wasn't even fard in Islam and was no ruling about it in Sharia yet. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the 10th year of Hijrah announced to people that I'm planning to go for Hajj this year, all the people started coming to Medina Munawwara because they wanted to take this opportunity in joining Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for Hajj. Just the year before this one, in the 9th year, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went for the battle of Tabuk. And for the battle of Tabuk, he had around 100,000 people with him. So of course now, this is the year after that, and within this time, a lot of people became Muslim, many more became Muslims. So for this Hajj, there were about 124,000 people with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that accompanied him in this Hajj. Although there are some other numbers mentioned, 114 or 130, but it looks like this is the middle number that we normally get, about 124,000 people around Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam during that Hajj. All the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were also with him during this Hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left Medina Munawwara on Saturday, 25th of Dhul Qa'dah. After performing Salatul Zuhr on Saturday, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left Medina Munawwara. But first thing, as he performed Salatul Zuhr, he gave a khutbah over there, teaching people the way of putting the ihram on. What are the rulings of ihram? Because now this is the first time he's going, and they're going to be learning all of these rulings that are of the Sharia. So he gave a detailed khutbah where he taught people everything about Hajj. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam assigned Abu Dujana radiyallahu anhu, or a Sahabi with the name Siba' bin Arfatah radiyallahu anhu, to be in Medina Munawwara as the governor of Medina, taking care of the affairs in Medina Munawwara, leading the salah and everything in Medina Munawwara. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after that khutbah, he left and he is stationed at Zul Hulayfa. Zul Hulayfa is a place where normally, even nowadays, all the people who leave Medina Munawwara going towards Mecca, they would station at that place. That is the first station. It was about 9 kilometers from Medina Munawwara. Nowadays, it's almost adjacent to Medina Munawwara. So, still people station over there because that is called the miqat. Miqat means the boundary for the people of Medina, that they should be putting their ihram from there. It's also called Abiyar Ali, and that is the name that is known for it nowadays. It's known by this name, Abiyar Ali. Some people think that Ali radiallahu anhu may had, bir means a well. Ali radiallahu anhu may had some wells or something over there. But remember, this Ali is not Ali radiallahu anhu. It's referring to some other Ali. Wallahu alam who that Ali is. It refers to some other Ali. Is not referring to Ali radiallahu anhu. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he went on a station at Zul Hulayfa, performed 2 rak'ah salah in Zul Hulayfa, and then he stayed in Zul Hulayfa for 1 day. So he performed Salat al-Asr, Maghrib, Isha, stationed there overnight, Salat al-Fajr. Then next day he performed Salat al-Zuhr also over there. He left Medina after Salat al-Zuhr on Saturday. Now this is Sunday, and he performed Salat al-Zuhr on Sunday in Zul Hulayfa, so that all the other people that would like to join, they have left their cities, their towns, they get their information, and they quickly come and join Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After Salat al-Zuhr, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took a shower as he's getting ready to put his ihram on. Of course, everyone tried to join. How hard did people try to join this journey of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We can learn that from this incident, that Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu's wife, Asma bint Umays radiyallahu anha, she delivered a son to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu over this place at Zul Hulayfa. So she sent a message to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, her husband, asking him, what should I do? He said, nothing prevents you from putting your ihram on. Wear your ihram, do everything else. The only thing is, you won't be able to enter haram, and therefore you won't be able to do the tawaf. But rest of the thing you can do normal. And he even asked you to take a shower, from which scholars have driven this rule that taking the shower is not for cleanliness. It's basically for putting the ihram on, so that it's as a respect, as a preparation for ihram. So, and imagine after this, when she delivers the baby on the way, and now she will be traveling for almost 10 days. In those days, on the camels and that heat, but she is willing to take all of that because she does not want to miss that opportunity of joining Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the Hajj. And normally the situation with us would be, okay, we'll do it next year. But subhanallah, had she done that, they didn't know that this is the last Hajj, but she would have missed it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took the shower and he put his ihram on, and before he made the intention, now this is after Salat al-Zuhr, he takes a shower and he puts the sheets on. then before he makes his intention or perform the 2 rak'ah salah, Aisha radiyallahu anha took some perfume, some type of fragrance, and applied on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's body, which means on his hair, on his body, on his beard. She put so much of it because now they won't be able to put no more perfume or no fragrance anymore. So at that time, it is allowed to use it, as we learned from this hadith, we are allowed to use the perfume or fragrance, whatever we need to use, before we make the intention for ihram, but this is on the body. On the body, she applied it so much that Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in say, we were able to see the shine of that fragrance, of that perfume, whatever she applied, for after, even after he made the intention, we were seeing all of that perfume on his body. We used to see it on his beard, we used to see it in his hair. To tell us that if someone puts a lot of perfume, takes a lot of perfume, he puts it on his body, and then the marks of it can be seen after ihram, still allowed. On the ihram, we are allowed to use perfume before making the intention, as long as now is not that much. On the ihram, it shouldn't be that much that it can be visible after that, or even if it's just a mark there, which means because some of the perfumes have color, but it's only a mark of it, of a color, is not something that if you touch it, it will get on you, then it's fine to have that much on the ihram. But on the body, you can have as much as you want. You can put a lot of it, and then it will keep on falling as the time will pass. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used some type of thick oil on his hair, so that because he had long hair up to his shoulder, so that his hair won't be flying throughout the journey. After that, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam performed 2 rak'ah salah, and he made the intention of Hajj and Umrah, and recited Talbiyah, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. This perfume that he used, Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi and all many other scholars have mentioned the name of it, that it was called Dharira. And Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi says that the Dharira used to come from India, and it was taken from wood, from a tree or plant, something like that. So it's some type of those perfumes that people derive from the plants or from the trees, just like oud and some others that they get it from the wood. And he also applied some other perfume that had some musk in it, and that was something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam normally liked, using musk on his body. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the intention, now the question comes, what type of ihram did he put on? Because there is 3 types of Hajj. Hajj called Ifrad, where a person will only be doing Hajj, no Umrah. Another Hajj called Tamattu', where a person initially will be putting the ihram on for Umrah only, will go to Mecca, perform Umrah, take the ihram out, then on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah will put the ihram for Hajj on, and will perform the Hajj with that new ihram. This is called Tamattu'. Normally, nowadays, people go from outside of Makkah and Medina, they perform Hajj Tamattu'. And the 3rd type of Hajj is called Hajj Qiran. Qiran means that you put the ihram on from wherever you are putting the ihram. The first ihram, when you are putting it on, you make the intention of performing Umrah and Hajj together. So now when you go to Makkah, you will do the tawaf, you will do the sa'i, but you will not be shaving your head. Keep the ihram on until the 8th, and then on the 8th you continue with the same ihram and perform the whole Hajj. So you will have your ihram on for much longer time. This is called Hajj Qiran. Which Hajj did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam perform? Most of the scholars are of the opinion that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his Hajj was Qiran. That he put the ihram on for Umrah, and then he kept his ihram, and then he continued with the same ihram until he performed the Hajj with it, and he took the ihram out only after he finished his Hajj. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi says that there are more than 20 ahadith that support Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam did Hajj Qiran. Of course, because of that, it would be the best form of Hajj, but it's the most difficult one also at the same time, because you will be keeping your ihram and don't get out of it, which means you have to observe all the rulings of ihram throughout the time that the person in Makkah Mukarramah. For people like us who are not used to ihram, it's a little difficult to continue with it all of that time. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had his camels also that he was going to slaughter over there in Makkah. He took them with him from Medina Munawwara. He took some with him, and Ali radiallahu anhu brought some with him from Yemen. So Najiyah al-Aslami radiallahu anhu is the name of the Sahabi who was in charge of all of these camels of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam started reciting Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik continuously throughout his way. He's reciting the talbiyah, and sometime he says Labbaik Allahumma bi umratin wa hajjah. Ya Allah, I'm here to perform a umrah and hajj. Sometime he mentions only hajj, Labbaik Allahumma bi hajjah. Ya Allah, I'm here to perform a hajj. Sometime he just mentions a umrah, Labbaik Allahumma bi umrah. Ya Allah, I'm here to perform a umrah. And because of this, depending on which Sahabi, 124,000, which Sahabi is closer to him at that time, people are saying Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's ihram was for hajj. Another one will say his ihram was for umrah. The third one will say it was for qiran, hajj and umrah together, depending on what they heard from him in these different occasions. Someone heard just the word umrah, then he got far from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't hear the word hajj and umrah later on. So every Sahabi narrated what he heard. And accordingly, there is another difference also in the narrations. When did he recite talbiyah for the first time? So depending on who saw him at what time reciting the talbiyah, which talbiyah means Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, and then narrated it according to what they have heard and what they have seen. So the first occasion that is narrated about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reciting Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik was in Zul Hulayfa after performing the 2 rak'ah salah. And then of course he was reciting it continuously. So someone says, I heard him reciting when he was riding his camel. Someone says, no, I heard him reciting when he got to that point. So according to what they have heard, they are narrating it in their hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after he put his ihram on, he recited Talbiyah Labbaik. He mentioned to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een that an angel have come to me and he ordered me that on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use this blessed place. Allah have blessed this place, Zul Hulayfa, so that we can use it for putting our ihram on. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een that they have a choice. They have a choice of doing whichever hajj they like, whether it's ifrad or tamattu' or qiran. He gave them the choice. So all the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een were choosing whichever type of hajj they wanted to perform. The reason I'm mentioning this, now there will be some changes to this order later on. So remember this. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam arrived a place called Rawha, this is about 74 kilometers from Medina Munawwara. He is stationed over there. First station is Zul Hulayfa, Abiyar Ali as it's called nowadays. This is his second station, which is Rawha. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he stationed there, a Sahabi came and offered Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam a horse, a zebra that he have hunted. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have hunted this, you can use it the way you want. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu that distribute the meat of it amongst the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. This tells us that if someone else have hunted something and that person is not in ihram, no one who has ihram have helped that person in any way or showed him, did anything regarding hunting, then it's allowed for these people that have ihram on to use that animal. But if anyone that is in ihram or someone inside the boundaries of haram, if Makkah Mukarramah, the haram of Makkah, if someone inside those boundaries or someone in the state of ihram will be killing the animal, that animal will be just like a dead animal and is not allowed for anyone to eat from it. No one is allowed to eat from that animal. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now he continued until he got to his next station, that was called Al-Athaya. This was the third station of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam during this journey. Over there, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a deer that was sitting at the side of a mountain, and there was an arrow inside the deer. In the stomach of the deer, there is an arrow. So someone have hit the deer with an arrow, but still that person didn't come to catch it, didn't come to get it. But the deer is tired of running now, so it's just sitting over there. It can't run away. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked one of the Sahaba ridwanullahi majma'in to stop over there and don't allow anyone to touch the deer except for the person who have hit it. And then tell me who that person is. So that person stayed, that Sahabi stayed over there to stop anyone from touching that deer because all the people are in ihram. Finally a man came who was not in ihram, and then only they found out the person who have hit the deer with that arrow was a person who does not have ihram on. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued until he stationed, now this is the fourth station of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at a place called Al-Araj. When he stationed over there, they all are hungry. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had all of his baggage, his staff, with the baggage of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu on a separate camel. So they had one camel for all of their baggage. And that camel was under one of the slaves of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. So they're stationed over there. Now they're waiting for that camel to arrive so they can have some food. But as they're waiting, finally they see that slave come in without the camel. So Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu got up and asked him, what happened to the camel? He says, I lost it last night. Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu got so upset that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is hungry and here you lose your camel. And that was the only camel that you have to take care of. There weren't so many camels that I gave you to take care of. It was only one camel, and he started punishing him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking at it and smiling and saying, look at this Haji, what is he doing? Now we learn two things from this. Or many more, but two things that I like to point out from this. Number one, it's not good to even do this much during Hajj, but it is when the ayah says that do not argue or fight during Hajj. If a person, like a master or a teacher or a father, is punishing a student or a son, something like this, is not part of argument that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden in Hajj. Otherwise Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not be smiling at looking at this, and he would have said something different to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. Anyway, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finally said to Abu Bakr, stop, come back. It was from Qadr. Allah had it was written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the camel is gone, don't worry about it, Allah will give us something better. And as they said, of course the news spread throughout the people that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's camel is lost. So a Sahabi came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Fudala al-Aslami radiyallahu anhu, he brought some sweet. Ya Rasulullah, here, eat this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending us now better than what we have lost. And then finally Sa'ad radiyallahu anhu came with a camel to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Rasulullah, this is a camel, a gift to you, and is loaded with all the baggage, with everything that you may need for this trip. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by that time, he got the news that we found our camel. So he said to Sa'ad radiyallahu anhu, you take your camel back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have returned our camel to us. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued until he was at a place called Al-Abwa. Does it click? Abwa is a place where his mother is buried. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not go towards that side. He just stationed over there. And at this place also, a Sahabi who have hunted something, he came and he gave that meat to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Initially Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam refused it, thinking that he may have hunted it for these people, and someone may have helped him or something. Later on he found out, no, that was not the reason. And at the beginning when he brought it, it was the complete animal, and it may even be alive. Later on he brought a piece of it saying, Ya Rasulullah, I did it, I'm not in ihram. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted that from that Sahabi whose name was Abu Qatada radiyallahu anhu. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued until he stationed to a place called Asfan. In Asfan, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, Abu Bakr, what is the name of this place? Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu said, Ya Rasulullah, it's called Asfan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I can see Salih and Hud alayhim as-salatu was-salam passing through this place. And then he said, Ibrahim and Yunus alayhim as-salatu was-salam also passing through this place. Now what does it mean? According to the wording of hadith, it looks like he's seeing something now. So either Sahaba, just like they gathered in Bayt al-Maqdis when he went for Isra and Mi'raj, they are allowed, spiritually they are there. Or number two, it may be that he have seen them in his dream as they had performed the Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream. Now as he sees this place, he remembers, this is exactly what I have seen these people passing through, and this is where I saw them, these Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam. But this tells us all the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, they did perform Hajj, and this is something that scholars have narrated, that all the Anbiya alayhimus salam, whether Hajj was fard on them or not, that's another story by itself, but the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam did perform the Hajj to Baytullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then he is stationed at a place called Saraf. The reason I mentioned this, something unique happened over there, not at this time, but Saraf is a well-known place up to this day, because that is the place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got married to Maymuna radiyallahu anha. Not at this time, it was before this. But that is the place where he got married to Maymuna radiyallahu anha, and that is the place where Maymuna radiyallahu anha died, and she got buried also at the same place. And amazing, under the same tree where the nikah was done, she is still buried at the same place. And even up to this day, her grave is well known over there. At this point, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, now those who have brought any cattle with them to slaughter, any animal with them to slaughter it after Hajj, for those people they should continue their intention of Hajj. And for those who have not brought any animal with them, my suggestion is they should just make the intention of Umrah now. They should change their intention and make it only Umrah and should not perform Hajj. This is my opinion to those people and my suggestion to those people. Now look, this is the first change. Initially, it was do whatever you want. Now it's a suggestion that if you did not bring an animal with you for slaughtering, then you should change your intention and make it a Umrah instead of Umrah and Hajj together, or instead of doing Tamattu' or Qiran, which means at this time instead of Ifrad or Qiran, make it Tamattu', which means just perform a Umrah at this time, and then you will put another Ihram on later on from Makkah Mukarramah for Hajj. But he did not order it yet. He just suggested this to Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam continued until he is stationed in a place that was called the Tuwa. This is the last station of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam before he would enter Makkah Mukarramah. It was the night of Sunday. Tonight is not the night of Friday. Remember, the reason this is I'm making clear. We perform Salatul Jum'ah today, and after this the Maghrib is not the night of Jum'ah, is the Saturday night. So it was Sunday night. Next morning is Sunday. Next morning, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam performed Salatul Fajr in Zituwa, in that place. He took a shower, and now he is ready to enter Makkah Mukarramah. It's Sunday, the 4th of Dhul Hijjah. So on Sunday, the 4th of Dhul Hijjah, after Salat al-Fajr and after taking shower, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this place of Zituwa, and now he's ready to enter Makkah Mukarramah. When he entered Makkah Mukarramah, the first thing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did was he renewed his wudu. He had wudu. He just made a fresh wudu because he's about to perform a great ibadah now, which is tawaf. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered Makkah Mukarramah. That was after the sunrise. He entered Makkah. He entered Haram. In fact, he had entered the Makkah and performed the tawaf. Now and performed the wudu. Now he entered the Haram to perform tawaf. The tawaf. At the time of seeing Ka'batullah, this was the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma zid baytaka hada tashrifan wa ta'ziman wa takrima wa mahaba. Ya Allah, increase the respect, honor, and the greatness of this place. وَزِدْ مَنْ شَرَّفَهُ وَعَظَّمَهُ تَكْرِيمًا وَمَهَابًا. And whoever respect and gives proper honor to this place, Ya Allah, give honor that person also, and give a lot of respect to those people also who preserve the respect of this place. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised his hands, as normally it is the sunnah of dua. He raised his hands and he started making a lot of dua at that time. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finished his dua, he continued to go towards Ka'batullah. Did not perform the 2 rak'ah Tahiyyatul Masjid because the replacement for that is tawaf now at that time. So right away he went towards the black stone. He kissed the black stone and started performing the tawaf. In the first 3 rounds of his tawaf, he was doing ramal. Ramal means running or walking like soldiers. Really is not running fast, taking close steps and just with little movements and little jumping, just like soldiers normally walk, walking in that manner. This is the sunnah in the first 3 rounds. And he had done the ittiba', which means put the sheet from under his right arm on his left shoulder. Each time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come in front of the black stone, he will either kiss it or will point towards it or touch it either with his hand or with his stick and kiss his stick or his hand. Or in some tawaf, not in this tawaf but some other tawaf, he was kissing it, putting his head on the black stone and kissing it. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finished his tawaf, he went towards Maqam Ibrahim and he recited this ayah, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى, and he performed 2 rak'ahs salah over there. In the first rak'ah he recited Surah Al-Kafirun, and the second rak'ah he recited Surah Al-Ikhlas, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. And we all know that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam first time he was doing that tawaf, not at Hajjatul Wada', earlier when he came for Umrah, Umar radiyallahu anhu went to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, why not choose Maqam Ibrahim to perform the 2 rak'ah of tawaf there? And the ayah of Quran was revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, confirming the opinion of Umar radiyallahu anhu, saying, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى, and perform the salah at Maqam Ibrahim. Very quickly going over Maqam Ibrahim. What is this Maqam Ibrahim? This is a place where Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, the stone where he used to stand to look at Ka'batullah, or even to put these stones and build Ka'batullah. So he used to stand on it, and some of the narrations tell us that this stone became like an elevator for Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. So as he picks a rock to put it on, and Kaaba is long, and the wall is getting higher and higher beyond the reach of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So as he stands on this rock will go up, and Ibrahim alayhi salam will place the stone wherever he has to place it, or the brick, whatever he had to place it, he would place it there, and then the stone will bring Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam down. But at this time, the miracle that we see of that stone is that as Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam stood on it, the footprints of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam were printed, and they had the mark on this rock. Normally you stand on a rock, you don't have no footprints on it. But as Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam stood on it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala miraculously made the stone so soft in such a way that although it's carrying Ibrahim alayhi salam, but at the same time, the marks of the footprint of Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam are engraved in that stone. Of course, if you see it nowadays, it's very deep. It wasn't that deep. But by people touching it all the time, this is how deep it got. But now you can't touch it anymore because they have put it in a glass, inside some glass covering. So no one can touch it, but you can see it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after performing the 2 rak'ah salah, he again went towards the black stone and he did the istilam, which is kissing the black stone or pointing towards it and saying Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, and then he went towards Safa. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam got close to Safa, he recited this ayah, Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'airillah. Then he said to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, Nabda'u bima bada Allahu ta'ala bih. We will also start with the same thing that Allah started with. Allah started the ayah with as-Safa. Inna Safa. He mentioned Safa first. So therefore we are going to start our sa'i with Safa first. And then we will be heading towards Marwa. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam went up on the Safa and he raised his hands and started making dua. Some narrations say that he stood there for as long as a person can recite Surah Al-Baqarah, making dua. Imagine after all of that journey. And now, he performed the tawaf. As soon as he came, he didn't go to rest. He performed the tawaf. Now he's there and he's making dua at the beginning of Safa and Marwa, at the beginning of the sa'i. And normally, really, I'm telling you with experience, that when you, even after, if a person will go after rest, you go, as soon as you get to Safa and Marwa, you look at it, I have to walk all the way to there, and then make 7 rounds of it. So now you want to finish it quickly, you want to do something that you can get it done the fastest way possible, and therefore you no time to make dua. You want to run, rush, and get it done. But here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is standing there for so long that normally Sahaba say as much as a person it takes for a person to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. And after this dua, he continued going towards Marwa. In between, there are 2 green lines nowadays. In those days, they had some different lines, but there are green lines nowadays, telling us that this is the place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reigned. And this is the sunnah, to run between those lines. And then at the second line, he stopped running. Each time he will come at that point, he would be running between those 2 lines. So it's the sunnah of doing it at that place. This sunnah is only for men, is not for sisters, and it's not for women. The amazing part is that if we look at the background of it, the reason for the sunnah that was established was Hajra radiyallahu anha. When she was looking for water for herself and her son Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, and when she used to get into that valley, this was a deep valley at that time, when she would get there, she would not be able to see her son Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, so she would run there. And Allah loved that running and became sunnah. Now, a woman is running and becomes sunnah for men, not for women. The reason for that is, she was all by herself over there. And now, if a woman will be running there, all the men are there, and they will be seeing, and it's against the satar, the covering that Islam is applying, and the hijab that Islam is requiring for women. Shows us how careful Islam is about that hijab and the rulings of hijab. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went on Marwa, and over there he made the dua facing the Qibla, just the way he did it in Safa or on Safa. And this was 1 round. Coming back to Safa, this is the 2nd round. So he finished the 7 rounds in this manner. This was the end of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sa'i. At that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this announcement to all the Sahaba ridwanullahi alaihim ajma'in, that any person who did not bring animal with him for slaughtering should, now the order is different, should finish his ihram. This is the end of those people's ihram. Should make it just a umrah, and then you can put the ihram on again for Hajj later on. I will not be able to do it. لو استقبلت من أمري ما استدبرت لما سقت الهدية. If I knew what I know now, I would not have brought the animals with me, and I would have taken my ihram off also. But since I brought the animals with me, because of that the ruling for me is, and for anyone who brought the animals with him from Medina, the ruling for us is, we cannot take our ihram off anymore. But for those who did not bring the animal with them, they should take the ihram off now and make it just a umrah. What was the reason for this? The reason for this was, in the days of Jahiliyyah, they used to consider umrah in the days of Hajj as one of the worst sins. This was a major sin for them, according to their understanding, to perform umrah during the days of Hajj. And what are the days of Hajj? Shawwal, which means starting from the day of Eid, after Ramadan. It's not Eid al-Adha. Starting from the day of Eid after Ramadan. So Shawwal, the whole month of Shawwal, the whole month of Hajjah and Dhul Qa'dah, and 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. 10 days of it. These are called the days of Hajj. They used to consider Umrah during these days as one of the major sins in Islam, or in their according to their understanding. So even Sahaba had this similar understanding that it may be a sin to perform Umrah during these days because they are called the days of Hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted that thought to be out of their minds, and he really wanted to just kill it totally. So therefore, he's telling them, now you have to just make it a Umrah, so that everyone will realize how important it is for us to understand that Umrah is allowed during these days. And now, of course, these people will not feel good that here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is doing Quran and we are doing Tamattu'. They won't feel good, even though it's allowed. But they are not. They want to follow him in every step. They want to do it exactly like he's doing. So this is why he tells them, if I knew things that I know at this time, which means if I had thought about it at that time, I would have just made it a umrah for myself also, did not bring the animals with me. But now I cannot take it off. The second thing was, according to their understanding, when a person comes for Hajj into Makkah Mukarramah, having a relationship with their wives, to them was considered a major sin. Now as the ihram is off, this is allowed. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to make it clear that things that are allowed in the Sharia, there is no reason for us to consider it haram. Don't consider these things haram, that Allah have made it halal for you. So Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, those who did not bring no animal with them, they started taking their ihram off after this umrah, which means they are shaving their head. Some of them are cutting the hair short, some of them are shaving the head. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam at this point, he made this dua for them. Allahumma arhamil muhalliqeen. Ya Allah, have rahmah and mercy on those who are shaving their head. Sahaba Ridwanullahi ajma'een, some of them who were cutting it short, they said, wal muqassirina ya Rasulullah, and make dua for those who are cutting it short too, ya Rasulullah. But again he makes the same dua, Allahumma arhamil muhalliqeen. Ya Allah, have rahmah and mercy on those who have shaved their head. Again they said, wal muqassirin ya Rasulullah, and those also ya Rasulullah who have cut it short. And he says, Allahumma arhamil muhalliqeen. Ya Allah, have rahmah on those who have shaved their head 3 times. And then again they said, wal muqassirin. He says, okay, wal muqassirin. They are getting at least 3 times more rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a result of the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, those who would shave it totally, comparing to those who are cutting the hair short and they are not shaving it totally. There are 3 occasions where we learned Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua in the same manner exactly. 3 occasions in the same exact manner, where he makes 3 times dua for those who have shaved their head and only once for those who are cutting the hair short. One was at the time of the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, when they were stopped by the people of Quraysh, and they had to shave their head at that time to take the ihram off. Same way, he made the 3 times dua for those who have shaved their head, and once for those who have cut the hair short. This is the second occasion. And the third occasion is, which is coming next, that was after his ihram was, after he finished his Hajj. And now is the time to shave. And sometimes we are really ashamed that, oh, my hair is so long, how I'm going to show everyone now with no hair at all. Imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hair, how long was it? His hair was up to his shoulder at that time. And now when he goes to shave it, he doesn't cut it short at all, he just shaves it totally. But not at this time, because his haram is not coming off at this time. So let's continue there. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this dua for those people, and those who did not bring animals with them, they took their ihram off. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the other Sahaba who brought the animal with them, only those were the people who had the ihram on during these days. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed in Makkah Mukarramah for 4 days. During these 4 days, he was shortening the prayers. He was performing 2 rak'ah salah. And he made the announcement at that time. After leading the salah, a lot of time people get very confused when a person is there, when the imam is traveler. Oh, what should we do? Should we find someone who's not a traveler? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a traveler, and he is leading the salah. After salah, he turned around, he made this announcement: Atimmu salatakum fa inna qawmun safar. You complete your salah, O people of Makkah. You complete your salah. We have shortened the prayer because we are travelers. And I have seen a lot of confusion regarding this. Number one, the confusion is about, oh, let's find an imam who's not a traveler. And they try so hard that a person who doesn't even know how to recite will lead because he's not a traveler. Number two, sometime an imam who's traveler, he thinks, oh, okay, because I'm a traveler, but the rest of the people in the masjid are not travelers, so I will just lead the whole complete salah. What's the reason for it? This is the sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he led the salah, and is shortening the salah, and he's telling the people of Makkah, you continue with your salah. So make that announcement. We will be following that sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Atimmu salatakum fa inna qawmun safar. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stationed in Makkah for 4 days. That was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday morning, after Salat al-Fajr and after sunrise, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his ihram on for Hajj now. This is the 8th of the Hijjah. He put the ihram on for Hajj and he went to Mina. So of course he did Salat al-Fajr in Makkah Mukarramah. Now he went to Mina. So in Mina he performed 5 prayers. He stationed in Mina and performed 5 prayers: Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and next day Salat al-Fajr. Which is the next day? Next day is Jum'ah, which is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. Jum'ah, 9th of Dhul Hijjah. He performed Salat al-Fajr, and then later on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left towards Arafah. In Arafah, this was after sunrise that he left. In Arafah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is stationed, or before Arafah, just at the boundaries of Arafah, he is stationed at a place called Namirah. Over there, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a tent for him. He is stationed in that tent, and then he came out to give a khutbah. He gave that khutbah that is known, the well-known khutbah at that place in Namirah. If people go to Arafah and they see that masjid that is known as Masjid Ibrahim in Arafah, that masjid is called Masjid Namirah also, and is also known as Masjid Ibrahim, named not either after Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam or a person who constructed it later on in the days of Abbasiyin, in the Khilafah of Abbasiyin, a person whose name was Ibrahim. He did the reconstruction of it, so it's named after one of these two, Wallahu alam, whose name is mentioned as Masjid Ibrahim there. Remember, part of that masjid even now is outside of Arafat. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave his khutbah over there. Then he went inside into the place where he wanted to stand for wuquf Arafah, for doing the ibadah and the dua in Arafah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stationed over there, and he kept on making the dua until the adhan of, until Salatul Maghrib, until, or I think the better wording will be until sunset, because there was no Maghrib on that day at that place. In Arafah, of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined Salatul Zuhr and Salatul Asr. And Bilal radiallahu anhu was the same muazzin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who called the adhan, and he was the one who was calling adhan throughout this journey. No one else called the adhan, as according to the hadith that we can find. He is the only one who was calling all the adhan for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam throughout the journey. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was doing the wuquf in Arafah, he is stationed in Arafah and is making the dua, he learned about a sahabi who fell off his camel and he died. Of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the virtue of it. He said, a person who dies in ihram on the day of judgment, he will be coming out of his grave reciting talbiyah labbaik Allahumma labbaik. And every year he's getting the reward for Hajj. So till the day of judgment, continuously he's getting the reward of Hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during this dua, he had his hands raised up to his chest. That's the normal way of dua. His hands raised up to his chest, and he's making dua throughout at that time. And he sent a person making an announcement that this is where I'm standing, but I don't want anyone to try to stand at this place, stand anywhere in Arafah, because Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam chose the whole Arafah as the place of wuquf. So wherever you are, every group of people, just stay wherever you are. No one should try to come closer to me or try to come and stand at my position, my place over here. After sunset, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started going towards Muzdalifah without performing Salatul Maghrib, remember. And he had Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu riding behind him on his camel. Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu was the lucky person who got the opportunity of riding with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam on his camel. Of course, he was a sahabi that was loved by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to love him. On his way, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped at one place for urinating, and then he made a quick wudu. Then when he arrived Muzdalifah, he made another wudu, and then he asked Bilal radiallahu anhu to call the adhan for Salatul Maghrib. Bilal radiallahu anhu called the adhan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha in Muzdalifah. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a little rest in Muzdalifah. And this is also good to have little rest if possible, because next day is a busy day. In the morning, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he woke up, of course, whatever he may have performed, Salat al-Tahajjud and other things, he performed Salat al-Fajr at the very beginning time. At the very beginning time. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu says in a hadith narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari that I have never seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performing Salat al-Fajr at the beginning time the way he did it in Muzdalifah. Which means normally he used to do it a little later, but here in Muzdalifah he did it at the beginning time. And after performing Salat al-Fajr, then he stood making the dua. This is the real time of the wuquf in Muzdalifah. And he continued making dua until just before sunrise. Remember, standing there and stationing there until the sun rise is not good. It's better that just as before sun would rise, we stop making the dua and start heading towards Mina again. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam now from here started reciting labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and before sunrise he started heading towards Mina from Muzdalifah, and now he had Al-Fadl bin Abbas, his cousin, the son of Abbas radiallahu anhu, riding behind him. And Usama radiallahu anhu walked to Mina. On his way to Mina, a woman came to him and asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, my father is a very old man. He cannot sit on a ride. Can I perform the Hajj on behalf of my father? Which means, of course, now for future. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, you can do it. Another person came and asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, my mother is too old. She cannot come for Hajj. Can I perform the Hajj on behalf of my mother? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, because if your mother had a loan on her, you would pay that loan on behalf of your mother, so why not perform the Hajj on her behalf? This is another loan. This tells us, and I won't go into details of course at all, but tells us that if anyone have not performed Hajj of our relatives, we are able to perform the Hajj on their behalf or have someone do it on their behalf, we should try to do that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then, as he arrived Mina, he straight away went to Jamratul Aqaba for stoning the shaitan over there. And over there, after sunrise, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stoned the shaitan over there, and that is the time when he stopped reciting Labbaik, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. He stopped reciting it just at that point as he started stoning the shaitan at that point. So, from the time we put the ihram on, until, this is the ihram of Hajj, until we stone the shaitan, and the first stone of shaitan, that is the time when Labbaik will stop. No more Labbaik, that's it. The time is over now. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave a khutbah to people where he taught people all the rulings of Hajj, and he gave them instructions of things that were to be done after this point. And he mentioned certain words where people knew that in simple words he's telling us goodbye. He's telling us that I may not see you again. And that is the reason that this Hajj is called Hajjatul Wada'. Because of that khutbah and the words used in this khutbah. It's called Hajjatul Wada'. That where he's saying goodbye to people. And he's told them that I may not see you next year. So if this is the case, then you do this and this. So he's telling them in different words that this is my last Hajj. I may not be doing Hajj again. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to slaughter his camels. He had 100 camels to offer as udhiyah to slaughter on his behalf. 100 camels that he has offered at that time after his Hajj, and he sacrificed 63 with his own blessed hands. And as he's trying to offer them to slaughter these camels, camels are coming forward, and each camel is trying to be slaughtered by the hands of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before the rest of them, and they are coming forward to be slaughtered. This was a miracle that people have seen at that time. He slaughtered 63 with his own blessed hands, and that is the number of the years that he lived. And he asked Ali radiallahu anhu to sacrifice the rest of the camels on his behalf. So altogether he offered 100 camels. Today, when we offer 1 or 2 goats, sheep, lambs, oh, this is too much. It's too expensive. And let's try to find a cheaper one somewhere. Remember, it's an offering to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are offering it to Allah, not for blood, not for meat, and it's not really the money. It's the taqwa. لَن يَنَالَ اللَّهَ لُحُومُهَا وَلَا دِمَاؤُهَا. Allah will not take the blood of the meat of these animals. وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. He wants to see your taqwa, your piety. How willingly you're offering this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then of course there are wisdoms behind it. No time to go into those. After Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam finished sacrificing the animal, he called a Sahabi with the name Ma'mar bin Abdullah radiyallahu anhu. And the reason I'm trying to find all of these names from the hadith and mentioning it, to know that who are these lucky people who got these great opportunities. Ma'mar bin Abdullah radiyallahu anhu was the Sahabi who shaved the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam called Ma'mar bin Abdullah radiyallahu anhu, and Ma'mar had the razor in his hand and is holding Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's head, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam looked at the face of Ma'mar. He said to him, Ma'mar, look, a prophet of Allah is sitting in front of you, his head is in your hands, and you have a razor in your hand. Which means he's telling him, you can do anything. See how much trust we have in you. And Ma'mar radiyallahu anhu says, Ya Rasulullah, this is a blessing of Allah that He has chosen me out of all of these people. And of course, it was a great blessing for him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to him, start from the right hand side. As he finished shaving the hair on the right hand side, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave it to some of the Sahaba, and Sahaba are standing there. They are not allowing a single hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to fall on the ground. We cannot allow this hair to get on the ground. So they are getting it in their hands. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Abu Talha, now they are waiting for a permission. So he said to Abu Talha radiyallahu anhu that, okay, go ahead and distribute it. And all the Sahaba started taking a hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Until Ma'mar radiyallahu anhu finished shaving the whole head of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Sahaba ridwanullahi majma'een distributed all of that hair among themselves. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Ma'mar to clip his nails also. So he did that, and Sahaba took that also, and they distributed that among themselves. In fact, we find in the hadith that some of the Sahaba who had those hairs, or some of them who had the nails, including Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, they made a will, when we die, put it in our coffin. Having the hair or a nail of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with them, of course, will get them something good for sure. At this time also, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made that dua for those who have shaved their head 3 times. Allahumma arhamil muhalliqeen. Again, Sahaba saying, wal muqassirin ya Rasulullah. It's not because they are looking to cut it short, it's because they know in future if anyone would do it. These Sahaba, subhanallah, they wanted everyone to get some blessings. Normally I would think, oh yeah, let him make more dua for it and let everyone shave. Yes, they say we will shave, but at least let's have some dua for those who are cutting it short also. This is how generous they were and how great these people were, that they're looking for everyone to have virtue. So after this dua, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now he went to Makkah Mukarramah to perform the tawaf, which is called Tawaf al-Ziyarah or Tawaf al-Ifada. This is the most important tawaf of the Hajj. Without this tawaf, Hajj is not complete. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went and he performed the tawaf. The only wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that performed tawaf during the daytime was Salama radiyallahu anha. The rest of the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed the tawaf al-Ziyarah during the night time. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went and performed tawaf al-Ziyarah over there. Now, after that, where did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam perform Salat al-Zuhr? This is the 10th. Where did he perform Salat al-Zuhr is one of the most difficult question to answer, if he did it in Makkah Mukarramah or he did it in Mina. There are different type of narrations. Wallahu a'lam about that. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, night time, he took his wives for performing Tawaf al-Ziyarah. So all the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went, and he did his own nafil tawaf at night time again. Next day, after Zawal, now the 11th, after Zawal, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam went to stone all three jamarat, all three shaitan. First day he did only one. Now his next day he's doing all three of them. He went and he stoned one of the first one, and then he walked until he got in between the two shaitans, the space between the two of them, and he started making dua. Again, the narrations are telling us his dua over there was almost as long as a person can recite Surah Al-Baqarah. He made a long dua over there. Then he went to the next one, he stoned that shaitan, and then he stood again. After that he stood again making dua. Then he went and he stoned the third one, and after stoning the third one, he did not make the dua, he just left. So this is the sunnah, making dua after stoning the first two and not making it after stoning the third one. This is what he did in the second day. This is 11th of Dhul Hijjah. This is what he did on the 12th of Dhul Hijjah, and he stayed for the 13th of Dhul Hijjah also. It's a choice now to stay for the 13th. If a person wants to stay, he can stay. If a person wants to go back, he has the choice to go back. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed for the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, and he stoned the shaitan same way on the 13th of Dhul Hijjah also. On the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, Rasulullah, which was Monday, after Salat al-Dhuhr, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went out of Mina, and then he is stationed at a place called Al-Muhassab. What is this Muhassab? The other name of it is Khayfu Bani Kunana. Very important place. This is the place when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Makkah Mukarramah. The kuffar of Quraysh made a treaty that they will not support Bani Hashim, and Bani Hashim will be under siege forever until they hand over Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to them. Which means it's the time when they planned and made all of their agreements and treaties against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's stationed at that place, showing them, look how the time changes, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have honored him now. 3 years Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in that prison, which we may call it under the siege. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is stationed there until he performed Salat al-Dhuhr, Salat al-Asr, Salat al-Maghrib, and Salat al-Isha, and he had a little rest over there. And then he went for Tawaf al-Wida'. This is the last Tawaf now, before he would leave for Medina Munawwara. He went for Tawaf al-Wida'. At that time, someone told him that Safiya radiyallahu anha started her period. He thought she have not done Tawaf al-Ziyarah. The reason I'm mentioning this, some rulings that we learn here. He thought she have not done Tawaf al-Ziyarah. If she have not done Tawaf al-Ziyarah, then he will be staying here until she will get clean and perform Tawaf al-Ziyarah. Her Hajj is not complete. So he was a little upset about it. Until he was told, no. She have done Tawaf al-Ziyarah. This is Tawaf al-Wada' that she did not do. He said, in this situation, they are allowed to skip Tawaf al-Wada'. So let's go. When he was stationed in this place, Khayf Bani Kinana, Aisha radiyallahu anha told him, Ya Rasulullah, when we came for Hajj, at that time I was not able to perform Umrah because of my situation at that time. I was not allowed to enter the Haram, so I did not perform Umrah. Ya Rasulullah, allow me to perform the Umrah now. So he said to her that just doing the Hajj and offering that animal that you offered, it's enough for you. You don't have to do Umrah again. She said, but still, Ya Rasulullah, I like to do it. So he asked her brother Abdul Rahman radiyallahu anhu, the son of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu, to take her to a place called Tan'im. And from there she will put the ihram on. And now there is a big masjid over there known as Masjid Aisha, because she is the one who did the ihram from there. So from there when she put the ihram for Umrah and she came perform the Umrah, then she joined Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Khayf Bani Kinana, which is called Muhassab also. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam left for Medina Munawwara. He took some water of Zamzam with him also, which tells us that it's good that you bring some water of Zamzam with you. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam on his way back was at a place called Ar-Rawha, he met some people. He asked them, "Who are you people?" They said, "We are Muslims, we are your followers, Ya Rasulullah." A woman, she showed her infant to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. "Ya Rasulullah, Ali hadha hajjun, is there any hajj for him also?" He's an infant. "Ali hadha hajjun, is there any hajj for him?" Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's reply was, "Yes, na'am, walaki ajrun." Yes, he will do the hajj and you will get the complete reward for his hajj. Subhanallah, that mother is getting the reward for 2 hajj. Her own and her son's hajj. Because of the hardship that she has to go through because of taking care of the children. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he put his ihram when he was going for hajj, he put his ihram on in Zul Hulayfa. Now when he came back, again he is stationed at Zul Hulayfa. He is spending night in Zul Hulayfa so that the people of Medina would know that all of these people are back now. They are all ready. Families who did not join their husbands, they know that now all of them are coming back. This was his way, subhanallah, beautiful way that he told the Sahaba, when you go on a journey, don't just come by surprise. Don't hit your family on surprise. Sometimes we like to give these type of surprises and then we get a surprise. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us that don't try for these type of surprises, that if you are coming after some time, let your family know when you will be arriving home, so she is ready and everything is ready for you at home. It's not, "Oh, why this thing is dirty? Why did you do this? And why did you go there?" We will have a lot of different things there. So it's always the best. This is the sunnah, that you let them know. And in those days, there were no phones. There is no means of communication. So he would come and he was stationed out of Medina so that people would know that now he's about to arrive home and they're ready. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he arrived Medina Munawwara, and now after Zul Hulayfa, he's spending the night over there. He performed Salat al-Fajr there. Then as he was going into Medina, he's going faster than normal. So people realize this is for his love for Medina Munawwara, that as he sees Medina Munawwara, he loves it and he's going faster. And then he saw the mountain of Uhud. He said to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, "Look at this Uhud. Jabalun yuhibbuna wa nuhibbu." This mountain loves us and we love this mountain. And he was reciting this dua, "Aibuna, ta'ibuna, abidun, sajiduna li rabbina hamidun." We are coming back and we are repenting to Allah. We are doing ibadah of Allah. We are doing sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sadaqallahu wa'ada. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfilled His promise. We got, alhamdulillah, all of this. We have the position of Makkah Mukarramah. Wa hazam al-ahzab. Nasara abda. He have given success and victory to His servant, which means He refers to Himself. Wa hazam al-ahzaba wahda. And He is the one who defeated all the other armies. This was the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this was the Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.